Today's match reaction is brought to you by FanTeam, where you can win £100,000 in the second chance fantasy football season game. The links are in our description below and in the live comment section. Go check it out at the end of this stream. Smash that like and share button. Let's go, people. Manchester United beat Burnley 3-1 at Old Trafford to end what has been a turbulent 2021 for the Red Devils with, I wouldn't say style, but with 3 points, 3 goals, and closing that gap on that fourth place spot, the Champions League position behind the brilliant and in-form Arsenal Football Club, needed after the big disappointment against Newcastle United on Monday. And there were some good performances tonight. There was some rotation of the team. Still so many question marks from Man United fans. A lot of panic, a lot of anger when the starting lineup was announced. Why is McTominay playing? Why is Varane on the bench? Happy that Rashford's been dropped, etc., etc. There's always something to moan about. But you know what? We saw a much better performance tonight from Man United. Still a long way to go. Still a long way to go. Because this Manchester United team wasn't vintage tonight, wasn't scintillating tonight, wasn't groundbreaking and amazing. There were some individual performances. Scott McTominay, excellent. I thought he had a really good game, barring that mistake right at the end, which nearly led to a second goal where he fell asleep. But I felt that was almost systematic of this Manchester United team in the second half. They kind of took their foot off the gas, very relaxed. Maybe it was a sense of reserving some energy for the game against Wolves. Burnley didn't really try to get those goals back in the game, which make it a little bit easier. It's a little bit of a training ground exercise, as it were. I would have preferred a few more goals, instill a little bit more confidence in this team. And this isn't a performance that will last for the ages of Manchester United, but it was a step in the right direction, better work rate, more sensible on the ball. And when we did create the opportunities, there was a more clinical edge tonight. Ronaldo, of course, missing a very early chance in the game. Scott McTominay, who I said already, brilliant tonight in that midfield role. Excellent with his shooting boots tonight. Could have actually had a hat-trick. All the same shot, almost passing it into the net. He got the opening goal. The second, excellent work from Luke Shaw down the left-hand side. It forced a mistake from Burnley. And then Sancho, still wanted more of this from Sancho throughout the course of the whole game. I want him driving. I want him driving at people a lot more than he does. He's almost a little bit reluctant to attack people. And I want his confidence to grow, but he came in well. He put the ball across the box, bend me, put it into the back of the net. And Ronaldo's goal was actually a brilliant goal. Not so much Ronaldo's part of it where he taps the ball in, but a great crossfield pass from Greenwood. Wonderful play from Sancho. Picks out McTominay, who had a brilliant shot, wonderfully saved from Hennessy, and then Ronaldo was there to put it in the back of the net. What I did think was interesting, though, is listening to Thierry Henry, the greatest Premier League striker of all time. They were asking him at halftime about the goal, and he said, he was like, trust me, what Ronaldo had to do there wasn't easy. He had to go the outside of the opposite foot so that he could get a first-time touch to make sure no pressure was upon him. He didn't try and make it sound like it was sensational, but he was sort of explaining to us laymen as fans that still isn't as easy as it looks. However, it is a tap-in. He gets his goal. Ronaldo's always happy when he gets a goal. I would have personally liked to have seen Man United go for more. I would have liked Man United to have really gone for that jugular. We didn't. But you know what? I can't complain. After what we saw against Newcastle, I wanted to see a reaction. I wanted a better performance, and we got that tonight. It's going to be interesting to see the starting lineup now against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Who comes back in? Does Bruno come straight back into this team? Does Rashford come in? Will there be rotation? I very much doubt that Cavani and Ronaldo at their age are both going to start that game as well. I'd be very shocked. Although there's kind of a week off and then an FA Cup game, so maybe they'll use them there and they get a whole 2 weeks off until the next football match. Varane rested today because he's only just returned from injury, so he'll start. Luke Shaw had a very good performance tonight, but does he come now back in permanently for Alex Tellers? Delot, does he return? So there's lots of questions, and of course a lot of anger before the game kicked off about the starting lineup. And no one quite knows why Ralph's picking the people that he's picking. I'm just at a stage where let's all relax. Let's all just stay calm, because Ralph is doing elements of trial and error. We also don't get to see training. We don't know how good or bad people are in training. And we all talk about picking people based on meritocracy. Well, the first area that you should be assessed in is how you train, your application, how hard you work. I always like it when a certain player gets berated for being in the lineup and then they have a good game. It is funny. It just always makes, just as an individual, I always chuckle at things like that. But look, overall tonight, very happy as a Manchester United fan. We'll be bringing the panel out for you very soon as well. But I want to go to your comments. I want to know what you think and feel about Man United's game tonight. Again, not one for the ages, not a performance or a result that anybody's going to be speaking about forever and a day. But what I will say though, as a Manchester United fan, looking at this game tonight, it's just, we've found on the last 5 home games against Burnley, we've only won one of them. So they've been a team that have been a real pain in our backside. And what I really saw tonight, which was important, is one, we didn't miss Bruno or Rashford. Now that doesn't suggest that we don't need them in this team or in this squad. You've seen a few teams recently lose a few players and fall away. So we need a squad. That was good. But what I also saw is that Burnley weren't scared of us. And I respect they're not scared of us. And maybe suggesting that professional footballers are scared of other professional football teams is the wrong way to look at it. But the one thing I want to see more and more from Man United is them going for that jugular, setting that standard that you don't come here and open up against us. You sit back and you wait for us to score. That's what I want to see a little bit more of. That's all. And that's going to take time to happen for people to be fearful of Man United in the same way they are Liverpool, in the same way they are with Man City, and how they were with Man United for 25 years. So, look, that's me as a Man United fan wanting that. I know we're a long way away from it. I want to go to your comments now before I bring the panel out. Victor here says, Terry, that second half was like a training ground. Happy with the win. McTominay, if he gets put in those performances, happy with the 3 points. Yeah, listen, look, it's funny really because I said to a few people, I don't know who and what and why the manager's picking the players that he is. I have no idea because I'm not in the know with that. I'm intrigued to see fan reaction if Scotty keeps playing, if Ten Hag or Nagelsmann or whoever the new manager is comes in, keeps picking them. Remember, a lot of people on Twitter that are angry that McTominay is playing these games are the same people that celebrated profusely at the professionalism, the quality, the football know-how, and football brain of Ralph Rangnick when he was employed. As much as I appreciate that fans are entitled to opinions, if Ralph keeps picking him and say not Donny, as an example, we as fans might just have to take the L on this and say, do you know what? Maybe we were all wrong. Maybe there's something we're not seeing. Doesn't mean that Scott's the finished article and we're not going to look for anybody else. But maybe they're both just not the answer. But Scott's the best of each of them. I just think everybody's got to remain a little bit more relaxed. We know what we've got in Ralph. We know how good he is at building football clubs. We know how good he is from a DOF point of view, spotting talent and understanding what's going on. But yeah, very happy with him tonight. My team, glory, is what Rebra says here. Maguire almost conceded a pen at the end. Listen, I will say with Maguire, shocking. The defending for Aaron Lennon. I literally thought this man retired about 5 years ago. Scored his first ever goal against Man United tonight. Maguire's just, it looks like he's running in treacle with concrete boots on. It's like Lurch in a fridge had a baby and it was Maguire. Awful. He let the ball bounce at one point and him and Wood are pulling on each other's shirts. That could have gone south. Lennon was offside in the second half, but he still allowed allowed a ball to bounce and he was able to run onto it. Maguire is a walking disaster at the moment. And I know he's a lot better than he's showing. But this is where I know he's captain, but I feel like keeping him in the team could end up costing us because he's got 2 or 3 mistakes in him every single game. So yeah, he was very, very poor indeed. So proud of Sancho. He took his foot off the gas though. I think most of the Man United players took their foot off the gas in the second half, and you'll probably find it was an instruction. You'll probably find it was a case of, let's see this game out now. No point burning ourselves out. We play again in 3 days' time. Just chill. as fans are, you always want to see 4, 5, 6, 7 goals on top. But I would almost say it was, I was proud of him in the first half, but I want to see Sancho run at players a little bit more. He's got the skill and the ability to grow that confidence and do it. There's a few times where he was one-on-one, I'm like, cook him. And I don't mind if you get tackled. Try again. When Ronaldo was in his pomp at Man United, he just didn't stop attacking the fullback. He might have got tackled in the first 4 attempts, but on the 5th or the 6th or the 7th, he beat him and created that chance or scored that goal. And I want to see a bit more perseverance from Sancho. I really do. Let's do some more of these comments here. From a Chelsea point of view, sorry, I did get sent a message a few moments ago, a comment here from Adam Newsom, that he understands that Reece James has indeed suffered a full hamstring tear and will be ruled out for a while. That means that Alonso is the only recognised available wing-back available for Chelsea on Sunday's game against Liverpool. So he is out. Jesse Dyer, long time no see, my friend. I hope you're good. He said the performance was fine, but we need to weed out conceding simple goals. Harry is a liability and he is drowning. Red Wolf said, I'd like to see a Bailly-Maguire pairing. Think they could offer your team better stability at the back. Maguire shouldn't be near the team. I get the Maguire bit, but Bailly showed us tonight the issue with him. For me, he's always one sprint away from being injured, and it's going to be hard to build a partnership. What we need is to get Varane established, playing regularly to his best, and then I almost feel like you could do a bit of a Liverpool here and rotate a partner in with him. But I don't see it being either of those guys, based on the fact that Maguire's awful right now and Bailly just gets injured too much. Big win, 3 points. Second half didn't over attack, but was controlled. When Scotty plays box to box, produces this. When Victor recovers in for Maguire, is what Josh has got to say. Well, who already had this one? Red Wolf said, I like this. Oh, I already had that one as well. Sorry. Selection says performance wasn't that good, to be honest. Burnley just not good. McTominay was very good. Burnley could have easily tied the game in the last 10 minutes, but they're shocking in the final third. And look, they definitely had their chances, there's no doubt. Do you know what this game reminded me of? We go back a little while in the season and look back at Arsenal. You know, those early wins they were getting after their opening 3-game defeats, when they were sort of scraping past the Norwiches and the like. It gave me those vibes. A team that needs to find its feet. A team that it's going to take time for them to, we all wanted that almost Aston Villa-like, Spurs-like bounce of the new manager coming in. Our bounce feels more Klopp. Slower. Jurgen Klopp's was a little bit more heavy metal. The attacking got much better sooner, but there was huge problems still at the back for a good 18 months under Jurgen Klopp. And it took time to get it working to a point where they were going to deliver. I'm very intrigued to see how this team is playing come February when the Champions League starts, who's been weeded out, who is in this side and whatnot. And we'll definitely go through that with the panel soon. How many tap-in or penalty goals this season for Ronaldo? I don't know. I haven't counted. To be honest with you, but are we now suggesting, again, for the first time ever, another Portuguese Man United player that certain types of goals are not real goals? If on Tuesday, if Mo Salah had scored a tap-in with his head, Liverpool wouldn't be sitting 9 points behind Man City, right? Every goal matters. A good attempt at banter, but not going to wash tonight, my bro. Not going to wash tonight. Happy holidays, big guy. This is from Baz1, who's celebrating 23 months as a legend and superfan today. Thank you. He says, may this year be prosperous for you and your family. I hope and pray always. All I strive for is to make sure my kids have money. I think that's because I grew up with none, like nothing. I had to go to school once in high-tech trainers. That was painful. And I know it sounds superficial, but I'm going to work to never let my kids do that. Ever. I think that's why I grew up quite angry, because you used to get a lot of stick for it. And so that what my reaction to that was, so I didn't get any more stick, was to be very aggressive back, because it sort of stopped people giving you crap. And it never really left me. So, yeah. Anyway, I digress. Dr. Phil shit. But there we go. Right. I'm going to bring the panel out in a moment. Arjan's here. KJ must have sent him a link. I'm going to say KJ sent him the link. Someone did. It's all good though. I just didn't send it out yet, but it's all good. Terry if it was Arsenal, you would have said it's just Burnley. But see, my friend, this isn't true. When Arsenal have won games this year, I've praised their performances, I've praised the goal scorers, I've praised the progression. When I would say that is if an Arsenal fan came on and said, "See, we just beat Burnley 3-1 in a performance like that. That proves we're going to make the top four." So I'm not sitting here saying today's game is why we're going to make the top four. Today's game is we're back. It's the best German manager performance from a German manager ever. So again, my bro, you're really off key with that, I'm afraid. But thank you for the feedback. But if you've watched my Arsenal match reviews, I have not at any point belittled any victory from Arsenal at all, especially one where they've scored 2, 3, 4 goals. Not happened on any occasion. When Arsenal have won games and Ramsdale has made some great saves, and everyone's gone, "Oh, they only did it because of Ramsdale." What have I said? He's their player. He's allowed to make saves. Why are we not saying well done for the win? So again, my bro, another attempt at spreading a lie about Terry Flewers on the football terrace, and just made yourself look a little bit silly, a little bit silly. But there we go. Imposter using my name. Is that not you? You're not the same person. Are you different people? Actually, that's true. You're using American dollars and they used Canadian dollars. So, yeah, unless you've switched like your VPN over really quickly or something. I don't know. But there we go. Over the last 5 seasons, Burnley have won one of the best records at Old Trafford, better than Arsenal. They do. And that's another one of the reasons I was happy to win tonight, because we've been awful against them at home for a long time. So, yeah, absolutely agree with you on that one. 110%. Harrison here says, Terry, man, it's strange how some people literally make up theories and agendas about you in their head and get angry about it. The world's gone. It is. I mean, I get weird stuff. You don't ever praise Arsenal. You hate Liverpool. You hate Chelsea. I now hate Chelsea after today's video, after being called a Chelsea fan for 9 months solid. I steal everybody's content. I steal everybody's ideas. The football terrace wasn't original. Everything. So many lies. But I've always had a theory on that. Only people doing less or worse than you in life will throw negative lies and criticisms about you. So the way I sort of look at it is, I feel sorry for those people. I wish them just every good thing in the world possible to happen to them, so they're happy with themselves. I really do. Burnley haven't scored in 3 games, and you made them look dangerous in the first half. You scraped past Norwich and drew with Newcastle. United will get thrashed, is what the Artful Dodger has got to say. And maybe they will. Maybe they will get thrashed. Maybe they will get beat by teams this year. And it's why I'm not sitting here saying it was vintage and it was brilliant. I don't think any Man United fan worth their salt will say that either, buddy. I just don't. So I appreciate the comment. I think you're absolutely spot on. There's lots to improve with Man United tonight. No doubt about it whatsoever. At all. None. Let's get the panel out now, people, to have their say. Make sure that like button is being smashed. Make sure you subscribed to the Football Terrace as well. Oh, here's an interesting one. You copied Turkish's Big Six show with the Top Six show. It's interesting that people say that, because Turkish made the accusation that we'd copied his show before the Top Six show even existed, when we used to do our Top Six previews, which the Football Terrace has done for 5 years. You know, we have been doing panel shows for over two and a half years now via StreamYard, with anything from 2 up to 10 people on. So the concept, the idea, no. And I'll let you all know something. The BetVictor Top 6 show wasn't a Football Terrace idea. BetVictor came to the Football Terrace and said, would you be interested in creating a show from between 4 to 6 people to sit there and preview upcoming games? They want one for the Champions League and one for the upcoming weekend's fixtures. So the idea was never going to happen on the Football Terrace until BetVictor, the sponsor of the show, approached the Football Terrace with the idea, and they wanted us to make the show. The show's integrated across multiple platforms, not just YouTube, including in their app for certain members of theirs, and it's going to be produced by them in a bigger way going forward. So again, people don't know the facts, they don't know the truth, and they just spread and talk like yourself, my friend. A lot of shit. So I'm glad that's cleared up. We would never be doing that show if a sponsor hadn't approached us and asked us to make a show for them, and that's what the Football Terrace is looking to do moving forward. And we've got another show on the horizon that another very large company has come to us about to make a show that they want badged and produced for them. So and I'll be honest with you, that show, there's been a company called Sky that have done a very similar show to that for about 35 years. So yeah, there we go. I also hope, by the way, that you go to other channels that didn't used to cover multiple teams that now cover multiple teams and say, oh, damn, you copied Terry with that. I'm sure you don't. I certainly don't, because it would be absolutely embarrassing to call out any YouTuber that does watch-alongs who wasn't the first, does match reviews who wasn't the first, does fan cams who wasn't the first. That would be a very pathetic way to behave. But thank you, Hamza, my guy. I just thought I'd clear that up because I see the lie, and I just thought, why do you even try to explain yourself to trolls? Do you know what it is? It isn't about explaining myself to trolls. Sometimes it's just, I'll put the facts out there. And once the facts are out there, they're done, and people can, we had it before on the terrace and it all got resolved. There was a big lie spread about me a year ago. Do you remember that I was controlling people, not letting people go onto other channels? And then again, it got resolved. That person came on very graciously and said, I got it wrong. I shouldn't have said it. That isn't the case. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'm used to it by now. I really, really am. So, I just read a funny comment. I'm not going to put that up there, but it did make me laugh. Your kids could learn a lot from Terry. Some people might think that, some people wouldn't, but my kids certainly learn a lot from me. They're being very naughty at the minute, though. They're very naughty at the minute. Terry was the first to have all different fans from different teams having discussions together. Exactly. And do you know what's interesting about it? Lots of people are now doing these similar things. Like, I used to have a show on the football terrace called That's Football that I did with Mark Goldbridge. They go back to one of our early videos. It's there. It's on the screen. I didn't care that he called his channel that. I did watch-alongs first. I didn't care that other people do them. I was the first person that did match reaction shows with panels after games during the lockdown period. Now most channels do it. Have you ever heard me once moan about it? No. I didn't phone up Robbie and go, Robbie, how dare you start a channel that doesn't cover just Arsenal? How dare you? You're not real. I would never do that. That would, honestly, if I did that, my dad would want to adopt me at 36 years of age. He'd say, you pathetic little boy. He'd just say, well, if you feel threatened, go and make your stuff better. That's all he'd say. So yeah, listen. And by the way, just to say this and reiterate this, because I know people are like cruel. The Big Six is a sensational podcast that I watch. And there's a number of people that are on there that I talk to on a regular basis. Really good people. No issues my end, in case anybody tries to lie or twist it. I've got no qualms. Not one. I do not think about other people in that way. It's not my way. And do you know what? I used to. And as soon as I stopped thinking about other people in that way, my life turned around dramatically. That's the last thing I'm going to say on that tonight. We're going to get back to the football, my people. Smash the like button for us. We've got Sunshine backstage, Aryan, got man like Mo, KJ's with us, Ishmael as well. We have to bring a Liverpool fan on here tonight just to glow, just showing Liverpool fans how you beat a small team midweek. That's what we're here to do tonight. I'm only joking because we're shocking, really. But there we go. Let's get the panel on, people. How you all doing? We all good? Oh, sorry. I'm good.
That was painful, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, man. That was drab.
The game. You thought the game was?
Yeah. Like, I did not think that was good at all. It was a terrible game of football. Fully enough, I actually, let me get this out of the way. The sweetest thing about this is that those Burnley mandem are finally gonna go. I feel like it's gonna be the year. They're finally getting relegated. I need this Brexit FC.
Please, man.
Need to get out of here. Pretty Patel. You know, Wagwan. Yo, ship them out somewhere, fam. You know what I'm saying? Please, I need that in my life. But overall, the game was great. I actually think Burnley played better for majority of the game. In a lot of spells, and United were just more clinical at the end of the day. We've got a lot of work to do, man. Like, we have some serious work to do. Basic things. Basic passes, basic defending, all basic stuff we're failing to do. I'm not a fan of the 4-2-2 or the 4-4-2. I'm not a fan of Ronaldo and Cavani up front. Yes, Bobby. Yes, Bobby, my guy, man. But yeah, Ronaldo, Cavani up front, I'm not really a fan of, and there's just a lot of more jigging and tampering that Ralph has to do to make sure this team is consistent, just to make sure we get top 4. Because right now, it's looking difficult.
I hear you on that. I thought the second half was more. I thought the first half was quite entertaining, to be fair. Sunshine, from your point of view, bruv, like, what did you make of this tonight? Obviously, still a lot of whining and crying before the game begun about starting lineups. It's been mad kind of week, really, for Man United fans.
Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly with KJ, not extremely, but slightly with him in terms of the performance. I wasn't happy with, but again, if I look at it in context of where we are, what Ralph has to do in the time that he's got to do it, I think there are some issues there that simply we can't really focus on too many of the issues. We've literally got to get the results, and I respect the fact that, yes, again, I wasn't personally happy with some of the players that were starting. However, he has identified that there was change needed from the last game, and he's chose to change it. Now, am I the manager? No. Is it okay for fans to go against the manager in terms of saying, not fully against him, but is it okay to disagree with his choice of players? Yes, it is. But the reality is, he is the manager. He's noticed that change was needed, just like us, and he's made significant changes, and he managed to get the result. Now, if you want to break down the actual game, it wasn't a great performance, in my opinion, and the 4-4-2 looked more so a safety net from the 4-2-2. I finish on this with the 4-2-2 it's a very difficult formation to nail down in such a short space of time. And if you haven't got the exact players or the player profile to be able to execute it, it's not going to look great. And I think what he's done is gone more of a gone for a more simple approach. Sorry, in the 4-4-2. Make sure that the number 10s have gone actually wide, so you've actually got a flat back 4 and played basic simple football and let the quality find itself. And I think that's a very good level of tactic for Rangnick to get the points on the board.
Yeah, I agree. Look, I'm not sold yet on this formation in terms of how it works. There's still fluidity issues. We still don't pass the ball at times fast enough for me. They're still confident. I mean, I think the biggest issue tonight is it's still, I think a few of the players are definitely scared to play in the dark. So we've got to get them over wanting to play in the dark. That's going to be important. But look, the bounce rate. Look, I'm just happy with those 3 points, and there were a few good performances as well. And we'll get onto some of that later. Arjan's here, of course, a United fan. What you from Toronto? What you saying, bro?
Oh, there's so much to break down in this performance. It was terrible. I don't see how people are happy. Like, the 4-2-2 just does not work at all. Like, we're so thin in the middle of the park. Like, you just need to get past. Like, there's literally no stability in this formation. Players like Cavani, players like Mason Greenwood are missing out on opportunities because of this formation. And like, we're basically, the only time I saw Cavani getting involved was when he was dropping back in the number 10 position, and we almost played a 4-2-3-1. And the amount of focus on the fullbacks in a formation like this with Aaron Wan-Bissaka's never. Did you see one attack go down the right-hand side until Delo was brought on? No, because Aaron Wan-Bissaka looks like a pitch invader on the pitch. He does not have the technical ability to attack, and all he is good for is a 1v1 situation. So, and Luke Shaw showed that what a fullback in this kind of formation needs to do. And this is why every time we had the ball in the middle of the park, McTominay was switching the play to the left-hand side. Like, the amount of times you saw the ball from the middle of the park go back to the left-back position because we have nothing down the right. And players are just missing out. The second striker in this formation is so useless. I don't understand the whole use of the 4-2-2. And it was a terrible performance yet again. And yes, we got 3 goals, but like, we're making teams like Burnley and Newcastle look good. We're making them look good. They're not playing that well. It's just that we're so thin in the middle of the park. It seems like they're good.
Do you know, I think it's interesting about it. And I was talking to Jess on Straight Facts, the podcast yesterday, that my biggest fear is slowly being realized with Man United, that and I was skipped. I didn't believe it 100%. It was being this whole we did a rebuild, we did a cultural reboot, and we were ready to grow from that point and win. We're not. It feels like we're going to have to knock everything down again, almost Bruce Lee, we just talk about when you're learning, when it doesn't matter if you've like in life, when you will learn something new, you have to like empty the glass completely and you start from the beginning again. So you can, you empty the glass and learn from that point. That's not quite the same, but there we go. You get the point. And Man United, I think, are going to have to knock it down and start all over again. It's my biggest fear because it doesn't matter that Ralph's here and that Ten Hag might come in. I don't trust the Glazers to allow any project to come to fruition because this proves again that we didn't let Ollie's grow in the right way, or we let it fester or stagnate or go stale, but we're still pushing it like it exists. And that's my kind of fear, that we may have to start all over again, go back 3 years, start selling loads, buying loads of players. And it just honestly, like it makes me really, really worried. So that's why I am hoping, and this is a pure fan thing, I'm just hoping for this to start clicking soon. And these players, I'm desperate for these players to start making it work, because at least then we don't have to go through this quote unquote rebuild. It's very, very nerve wracking from that point of view, because it wasn't great today, as you say. But 3 points is what we needed. We're going to get Danny Devil in the details in a minute as well. I'd love to speak some rivals here. Ismail, from your point of view, watching this, like, how do you feel United did tonight, looking at it from a person that clearly wanted us to lose?
Listen, that second half was not the one, man. Not the one at all. Like, apart from Scott, who I think had probably one of his best games that I've seen him play for United. Like, I don't know if it's, I don't want to get on him too much. I don't know if it's because of the level he was playing against, or like if he was actually just balling out. But he was head and shoulders like one of your best players on the pitch. But yeah, that second half was a real struggle to watch, man. But I want to ask you a question. Like, do you lot think like two midfield can actually work going forward against better opposition? Because Burnley are one of the few teams in the league that play a 4-4-2. And I just personally, I can't, with this personnel that you've got with these midfielders, I can't see you playing two midfield. Like, you need kind of like a Kante or someone who's going to do the job of two men almost. And I think with your personnel, I can't see it working at all. That's my main takeaway from the second half.
Yeah, the thing is with our 4-4-2 or 4-2-2, and the difference between that and Burnley's is that Burnley's wide players work hard. They work harder, and I used to play in that system. So essentially, it's like playing with four midfielders across the field. Whereas ours, we've got two wingers on out wide, and you got two just normal midfielders. So their defensive capabilities and their ability to trap back and work hard and make the system work is lower than Burnley's. We've got enough midfielders to play a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, which suit all of our players. But obviously, Ralph wants to play the formation that we play now. So going forward, it's going to be a lot harder because we don't have the midfielders dynamic enough to make a two-man pivot work with wingers, and we don't have the wingers who are disciplined enough to make a four across the midfield work. So going forward, it's going to be difficult to sustain this. Hopefully, the boys can do it. But yeah, two-man midfield going forward, I don't think is the way forward for Man United.
Bro, on that Old Trafford pitch as well, you're really seeing how like stretchy, like Matic at times. I was like, bro, I don't know if you're gonna make it back to the other side without doing your hamstring or something. Like, it was just looking all mad. Scott, he was all over the pitch tonight. I ain't seen him play like that for a while, man.
Yeah, Scott's great in the when he's a 8, when he's a box-to-box midfielder where he's got a defensive player or two defensive players behind him and he can just go forward, take those long shots, just getting stuck in, losing the ball further up the field. He's great. He's a great player to have there, great squad player to come in and play in these games where he's really physical, you need to battle. Our issue is that we have to rely on him to play more regularly and then also play in
Fred as well together.
Kind of,
I don't know what it is.
Yeah, together.
They got the bozo thing together, but when they play separately, 100.
Yeah, they both play the same position really, really well on their day. It's just that they play together and then they have to try and share it all. And yeah, it starts looking all mad. We know about McFred.
So guys, one point I wanna talk about today. One of the players actually that I know not a lot of Man United fans. You all are Man United, most of you are Man United fans. You guys, the way McTominay played today I think is because of Matic being next to him, feeding him experience. You guys, I'm not the guy like that come here and we'll talk to you statistics and stuff, but the passing accuracy of Matic is the best today. I think him and Luke Shaw and Sancho, that left side, as you guys mentioned, is actually what we saw today. McTominay playing, moving forward, is that because of Matic being there. And Fred would never offer that assurance to someone like McTominay to move all the way up. This is the point number one that Man United fans need to understand. I know Matic is slow, old, blah, 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 all the talk that you can have. However, if you can get a younger version of Nemanja Matic, it doesn't have to be N'Golo Kante. It can be somebody else. It can be, I can't tell you who, like someone like someone like Bissouma, someone like this with defensive ability. This is why we see someone like Lallana is now being a defensive mid for Brighton, and he's playing his football really easy because Bissouma covers a lot of ground. This is my point number one. Number two, today, the exchange between the four forwards today, Cavani, Ronaldo, Sancho, and Greenwood, was extremely effective. Sancho on the second goal was on the left. Sancho on the third goal was on the right. You don't see that a lot from that Man United all season, and this shows that Ralph did some work on the training ground. He did something that we didn't see in the Newcastle game, but we saw today. Second half was boring. Go ahead,
Ginger. I think that really it comes down to its balance, because Rashford, Bruno, and Ronaldo want to occupy a lot of the same spaces. Greenwood, Cavani, Ronaldo and Cavani are both number 9s, but they're different type of number 9s. They remind me of back in the day, Shearer, Sheringham for England, both strikers, but they take up different positions on the field of play. What I saw tonight in our attacking players was far more balance. They could both switch sides. Ronaldo and Cavani were never getting in each other's way. And in fairness, Hennessy pulled off a brilliant... It would have been a very good counter-attack goal tonight if Hennessy hadn't made that save, because it was given offside, but you could see, I think Cavani was actually onside. And that was because when that ball came in the box on that counter-attack, what I see a lot when Rashford plays and when Bruno plays, they're almost on top of each other because they all want to be in those same spaces. And I think that's what Ralph's got to get right. He has got to get... And this is why I say I don't care who starts, because for me, I care about my team winning and looking better. And look, we weren't amazing tonight, no way, shape, or form. I think we were better than against Newcastle. I think there were better moments in the game. Against Newcastle, we didn't create a proper chance in that match. At least tonight we were creating opportunities. And Burnley, for me, are better than Newcastle. So there were improvements, but still a hell of a long way to go, as far as I can say.
I actually don't think the forward link up was that great. Yeah, to be fair, yeah. I think there's a lot of moments where Ronaldo was probably, I think, the worst person at this, trying to distribute the ball to people. I think when he's got his back to goal,
he was shocking tonight.
When he's got his back to goal, and he's trying to do that like little pass into the player next to him. It's just not working right now, and he turns over the ball a lot. But I don't think the passes were sticking. There was lots of moments where the ball was just undercooked or just overcooked, and for a while now, Man United's attack has been very disjointed, and the balance is getting there. But even in the balance, there's still the execution of the attacks and of the passes that we just need to improve. And I feel like once Ralph finds the formation and finds a solution to his forward line, I think we can actually do some really good stuff, because we've got the foundations of the players to do so. It's just about finding that thing, but I feel like there's still a bit more.
It's interesting you say that, though, because a few people are saying that in the comments, saying you're wrong, Terry, it wasn't better. But interestingly, a lot of the same people were saying, drop Bruno and Rashford and we'll look amazing. I don't put any of this down to one. We weren't better today because Fred didn't play. We weren't better today because Dalot was out the team. We weren't better or worse because of any of that. It's about the collective becoming better. I do think more balance in who plays is going to be very, very important. Ian, listen, my bro, I appreciate you coming on every say. Got to bring Danny Devil in the details in. Top man. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. Thought there was a delay there. Danny's here with us now as well. How's it going, bro?
I'm good. Sorry I'm late, man. But I'm good to go.
Where are you? What is that like? What's that behind you?
I asked myself that question.
He's in the bando, fam. He's in the bando.
Man's cooking up.
The bando, you know.
Man, don't follow me about pepper on Instagram. Get used to
what are you growing, brother? What are you growing in them pots? I want to know.
The baby clothes.
Baby clothes. There we go.
That looks like some Breaking Bad shit.
You're about to say, yeah.
Well, all right there. Yeah, what you saying, bro? What was your take on? We're going to get onto some of the sort of fan takes in a moment around going at certain players. I saw your tweet doing very, very well about like people acting like Scott McTominay had never played well before. But in terms of tonight's performance, impressed, annoyed, frustrated? Like, where's your head at with it, Dan?
Look, we have to be realistic about the type of performances we're going to see in the short term. Like they took so long to sack Ollie, they let it linger too much. Then Carrick was in charge. Then they're turning up and seeing McKenna training them. The confidence is on the floor. I think there are positives to take from today. The first positive is that we've got a manager in Rangnick who's gonna make changes. He's shown that. I knew that in the previous game when he made changes at halftime that we'd see a different lineup today. So I think things like that will continue. Another positive is performances. The performance level of the players has been garbage for far too long. I'm happy that Greenwood will get some confidence from his performance. Jadon Sancho will get. He was a bit patchy before the goal, but after the goal, I thought he played better. That will give him confidence. Luke Shaw's looked like a bum all season. He looked like a bum all season. He looked better today. It looked like the break helped him. And that's what we've been asking for Rashford and Bruno. Give them a break. Take them out the team. Let them get their mind right, their body right. Let them come back. So those are the positives for me. We all know what. Listen, after every game, there's no point talking about McFred in the midfield. We know we've got limitations there. It's just about Rangnick doing damage limitation and getting through the season as best as he can. So those are the positives for me. It's just we need players to perform better. We got quality. We won today because Burnley and shit, and we got better players. And most weeks that's going to be the case. If the players perform to the right standard and Rangnick makes the right adjustments like he did today, he binned a 4-2-2-2. He went 4-4-2, better balance. I do agree with KJ though. For me though, Cavani and Ronaldo, they're 90 strikers to me with basic hold-up play. That's not good enough in this era for me. It's too basic. You look at Klopp, you look at Pep, they don't play with these type of number 9s. You need someone who can, like if you look at Cavani and Ronaldo, they'll get the ball and they'll just pop it back into midfield. And sometimes they can't.
There was one instance where Cavani was like in a half space.
He trips on the ball, KJ.
Yeah, and then he couldn't turn to drive, and he had to play it back to Aaron Ramsaka, and then he turned over, and it's just like these are the little things we just like turn your old man, shift like a lorry, fam, at least.
Greenwood for me, and it's a shame Martial wants to leave, but Greenwood for me needs to be in that front line because, like you said, there's even in the previous game there was a moment where Ronaldo got the ball, he had all the space in the world to turn and run at the defense, he just popped it back into the midfield like a basic striker hold-up play. But I don't want to be too negative because I think there are some positives.
No, I don't think you are being negative. I think you're being quite real with it. We've got a couple of super chats to do here. First one says, wasn't a great performance, still too sloppy with the passing, and we need a midfielder to protect the back four. There's too much space between the midfield and defense when we lose the ball. I think quite a lot of that has been brought up tonight. And by the way, I will say I watched Basuma last night against Chelsea. And I know he had a very good game and he maybe doesn't do that every week, but that's just a player with, do you know what I like about a player like him? He's got the physicality, the athleticism, the strength, but he's got the technical ability. And even like what Scott McTominay did tonight, like some sort of way he sometimes held the ball up with a couple of midfielders around him and he'd drop the shoulder up, muscle someone, turn and then run with the ball. It was great to see. But Basuma did it to Chelsea last night. And that's what I want from a Man United midfielder that can go out there and do it against Chelsea, can do it against City, can do it against Liverpool. And the one thing with Scotty Mac, I like him. I think he's a hard-working lad. He wants to do well for Man United, but he'll do well. He reminds me again of someone like a Nicky Butt who could come in for 5, 6, 7 games a season in matches like this when you need rotation and play well. If Nicky Butt and Darren Fletcher in his heyday and whoever else were our mainstay players in central midfield for 38 games a season, we wouldn't have won those league titles. They were McTominay and players like that should be the John O'Shea's and the Henningbergs of today. They should be the fringe players coming in every now and then, and they're not. And that's why when people have a go at me, you're not harsh enough on them. I'm like, why would I be? I was never harsh on Henningberg when he had a bad game for Man United, or David May made a mistake, because he weren't meant to be the guy winning us games. He was plugging holes when there was problems, really.
Do you know what I feel, Terry, sometimes about Basuma and these types of players is that there's something in football that people say, do you want a midfielder that is a proactive, that can read the game before it happens, that can read the play? And I felt today that Man United defense was including the midfield, was very reactive to what Burnley wanted to do most of the game. You would move after the play happened to the left. You would move after the play happened. You'll need that player in the midfield or the defense that would read the play before it happened. This is why Burnley today, when we saw Burnley today, everybody's like, I don't want this Burnley to get relegated. I wanted the other Burnley that played long ball all the time. Burnley today looked good because they wanted to do something and they didn't have the opposition trying to stop them. Every time they moved the ball left and right and trying to cross, it was Man United closing late, allowing the cross to happen. But you need that guy in the defense, on the midfield, to stop it from happening before it actually go that side or before the cross happened. And we didn't see that. You said that McTominay was a little bit late and sleeping. It's not only McTominay. There's a lot of players that were reactive instead of being proactive defenders. And this is, I think, what you need. And one someone like Bissouma might be able to provide that because he played under Graham Potter, who reads the game well, and always they play in the front foot instead of being a reactive team.
Absolutely. Another super chat here that says, I think the forward link up from Jesse Dyer. I think the forward link up play was poor as well. Also, Sean needs to overlap to open spaces for Sancho to cook. We rarely see that from the left. The 2 runs we had were on the right. We bagged. And there is a bit more of that. There is one thing I'd say about Man United that needs to improve. It isn't just in that area. We are sometimes too static. And so I'm watching it. Someone make a run. Even if you're not going to get the ball, make a run. If your run don't work, somebody else then runs. We're often standing too still. There's a super chat here that's actually brought up my point for me. Terry, can we talk about Donny van der Beek? I do want to speak about Donny van der Beek tonight because obviously he didn't start. Before I do that, I just want to go a big shout out to our title sponsors again tonight. The link is pinned to the live comment section and in our description below. It's free to enter. It starts in 14 days' time. It's the second chance fantasy football season with our friends at Fan Team. Register now. It's free to enter. It says it costs to enter, but because you're with the Football Terrace and you use my link, you enter for free once you register. And if you win this second chance fantasy football league where everyone starts from zero, £100,000 is the prize. I say this bluntly. What is the point of doing the FPL one with the Premier League and winning nothing? Enter that one for free and maybe win 100 grand. Change your life. Get yourself signed up, people. Speaking of changing lives, a lot of people expected Donny van der Beek's life to change when Ollie was sacked. And they did. And we'd be blunt about it. I did. We all did. We thought he's going to get game time. I think we've played about 7 or 8 games since Ollie's been sacked. And I swear Donny started like 1 of them, maybe 2. He isn't getting picked. I expected him to start tonight. Why? Like, Sunshine, why do you think even under the new... I know he's not going to be a permanent manager, but even now Donny is not being picked and again, barely coming on from the bench. Like, what is it, do you think?
Look, I'll start off by saying I'm one of Donny's biggest advocates. Danny knows this very, very well. Look at him smiling like a Cheshire cat. He knows my vibe on Donny van der Beek. But one thing, I can't put my finger on it, but one thing I definitely can debunk is a myth that, well, he's played under 3 managers, so it must be his ability. Let me tell you something about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There's not one player, bar Greenwood, and it's a completely different factors to reason why I'm using Greenwood in this situation. There's not one player that has been played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in my opinion, based on merit of performance on the pitch. I.e., I look at Eric Bailly, I look at Twanzebe after PSG. They've just been side-casted. He was clear with his favourites. So regardless of if you had a bad game, your better players, in my opinion, would not get a chance or didn't seem to get a chance. And I'm consistent with that. So where that brings on to my point, again, Greenwood was on the right. So again, we didn't have a right winger. So Greenwood was pretty much filtered into that position, not based on merit. I don't know any player, I don't know if you guys could say any player that was actually there based on merit of performances on pitches when we know they were having stinkers and nothing was changing. So that being said, I don't believe that Ollie wasn't playing him based on his ability. So I don't believe, again, that the idea of, 3 managers, it must be the player because the managers can't all be right. I don't really think that's the case. What I would allude to mainly is that the way I look at Rangnick at the moment, there could be a number of things. You can't just put your finger on one factor. For me, I've looked at it and my opinion and my take on it is that I genuinely feel that he's leaving players to out to dry. He's letting them hang themselves. Again, when he came in, there was a winning team. You never change a winning team when you first walk in. It's as simple. Those are basics. I don't care what team it is, whether it's Oxford, whether it's Chelsea. You got a winning team, you're winning players. Those are the ones with confidence. That's where you start. And then you start to wheedle out the certain players. Now, is it kind of frustrating? Yes. he's one of my favorite players, but I'm not one of those who will go, my favorite player has to start, otherwise I'm not going to back the manager. No, the reason I can't do that is simple. Under Ollie, you look at McFred in that pivot where I thought Van der Beek had a chance. It wasn't working, and what Van der Beek had in his locker, Ollie's team needed, in my opinion. I look at Ragnick, he has a style of play. So therefore, because he has a style of play in a system, the system is now his safety net. He doesn't rely on talent, where Ollie needed and relied on talent. So now I look at McTominay and Fred differently. So I have to forget what McFred was like under Ragnick because he's no longer here. Completely different setup and system. Now I look at Van der Beek and go, well, with respect, I have no idea why he's there. This is the sticky point for me. It's an intelligent guess if I can call it that. For me, Van der Beek, I don't think he's the player profile to play in the DM role first and foremost. I don't think he would under Ragnick. I believe he could personally, but under Ragnick, he doesn't seem to see him as that player. Now, if you played him as a 10, potentially everyone's expecting him to come in straight for Bruno today, but he appreciates Greenwood. So I think there literally needs to be at least another 3 or 4 games before we can suddenly say Van der Beek his career is done. Now, the positive side of me thinks that he's going to get a chance. The reality of it is seemingly, and I use that word very, very specifically, seemingly looking like his Man United career may be done. I will be very disappointed in that. However, again, there's other alternatives and questions too. Well, what if Ragnick? When Ragnick goes upstairs, Ten Hag comes in. Ten Hag loves him. So all I'm saying is there are so many unanswered questions that we can physically go, okay, it must be this or it must be that. There is about 3 or 4 sides to this, and so one thing I can only debunk is the fact that it comes down to his ability. Because again, Ollie did not play people based on ability, in my opinion. Based on what I see, he did not reward positive performances.
Can I play devil's advocate here with one question, guys? Just one question.
Yeah.
This guy, Ragnick, came as a new manager. He knew the players just by people telling him. You guys don't think that really, really on the training ground, he saw this performance from Donny van de Beek on the training ground and said, he's not good enough. Because to be honest, I don't know if he's a box-to-box midfielder or a number 10. But all of you Man United fans, would you play him instead of Bruno Fernandes? I don't think so. But if he's that good, I think this Ralph Ragnick guy would have given him a chance, and he hasn't. I don't think he's doing enough to be in the starting lineup, and this is just coming from a neutral person here.
Yeah, that makes complete sense, and I'm not ruling that out. I agree with Neji in terms of it's not an ability thing. It's not because he's crap. You know what I mean? Like people like to make out like he's not good. Like he's the talent and the ability, and even the application when he plays is there. I think for me personally, I think it's one or two things. One, it's he does want to leave, and as you've seen with Martial, a player who wants to leave is just not going to play. Martial wasn't even in the squad; he was in training. We saw the pictures. Man smiling. Do you know what I mean? So if he's wanting to leave,
first time I've seen him smile when he's close to leaving. It's a madness.
You know what I mean? So Martial wants to leave. He's not in the squad. He's not going to be playing games because he wants to leave. If Van der Beek wants to leave, then
he won't play.
Ralph is just not going to play him. That's just simple. Or number 2, that's a simple answer, the simple solution. Or number 2, the one that people don't like to talk about, but he may just not suit the Premier League. He might
exactly,
and that's okay. Like that happens. Many players go to different leagues and just don't suit. And maybe what Ollie saw, what Carrick saw, and Ragnick see is a talented footballer, but do you suit the league that we're in? Maybe he doesn't. Doesn't mean he's a crap footballer. Doesn't mean he can't go away to another league and smash it and do the things we know we can do. It just means that unfortunately for Man United, we may not see it, which is a sad thing, but that's football.
Hold on, AG.
KJ.
You know what?
Go on, Danny. Go on, bro.
One area where I disagree with you is that when we lose the ball under Ollie 4-2-3-1, right? When we lose the football, what's the structure that's left behind? It's a box. 2 central midfielders, 2 centre backs, because the fullbacks are up the pitch. Under Ragnick, because the way he wants to play is the exact same thing. So the characteristics he's looking for in central midfield without the football is why he's not going to play Donny in central midfield, right? He wants his central midfielders to be able to cover ground. And in the Premier League, you're going to find yourself in a lot of 50-50s. And I already know Donny's getting cooked in training when it comes to 50-50s. That's the one weakness he has about the football, which I think
disagree with that, man. I've seen many times where he's actually bullied, man.
Yeah, but like, but
Ajax, he was
in terms of loose ball duels over his career, he's below 50%. He's not effective in 50-50s.
Maybe of his career.
No, maybe of his career. In the Premier League, listen, with the ball, I'd want Donny in the team, right? And with the ball, Rangnick for me it's not. I said it in a space that Terry hosted a month ago when Rangnick took over. I literally said he plays a direct brand of football. Trust me when I tell you, be prepared. He's going to stick to the same players that Ollie did. He's going to gravitate to certain people. However, if performance levels are not good from certain players, there's no excuses for not giving Donny the go. And it was the same under Ollie. You played 4-2-3-1. You're telling me Donny can't play sometimes over Bruno in a 10? Of course he can. You just didn't give him the chance. That was the problem. And now with Rangnick, what happened today was he went 4-4-2. Doesn't trust Donny in central midfield. He's not going to get an opportunity. If he goes back to the 4-2-2 and he's playing, say, Sancho, Bruno, and Rashford in those roles behind the two strikers, if the next few games he does that and Donny still doesn't get a chance, it's a wrap. It's over. Like he's either going to have to leave, or what I would prefer is he stays so the next manager can make a decision.
Danny, I think where we've disagreed.
Hold on, Meiji. I know.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry. We're a 4-3-3 team. A lot of people are shitting on this team, saying it's done. We have to start from scratch. I'm telling you, you get two midfielders, it will transform this team. It will transform this team. And I'm
Just
talking
one.
about defense.
And a right back. Definitely a right back.
Oh, no, we got one. We got one on loan. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll call him back, baby.
I'm with KJ on that one. He's a baller, bro.
I rate Donny highly. So I'm just hoping and praying when the next manager comes in, Donny is still here.
I think on the Donny thing, it's interesting for me. I rate him technically. I know he's great ability wise. It's never about a lot of these arguments for me are never about ability. What I find interesting about the stands, a lot of the stands for Donny, is they don't ever want to look at a logical answer. The answer's always got to be bullied, mistreated, done something like it's unfair, like it's unfair in a mad way. I'll give you an example. When the reports came out 2 days ago that certain players didn't want to work hard, were annoyed at what the manager was asking them to do, didn't want to stay late and train. For some weird reason, the players everybody assumed they were talking about were like Ronaldo, Rashford, Bruno, as an example. What just we don't know who it is, but what if that one of those people is Donny? And that's why he's not being picked, because actually he's lazy in training or doesn't want to work or is insubordinate. Just as he may not be. I'm not saying he is, but there is clearly a reason that so far he hasn't been being picked. Now, there's a long way to go with Ralph. We saw in the early days of Thomas Tuchel that Alonso started a lot more games than Ben Chilwell. And even the start of this season, Alonso started a lot more games than Ben Chilwell. There's sometimes a time and a place. I sort of look at Donny and think if Donny doesn't start playing regularly at some point underneath him, the fact that you're also going to see Ralph be so influential in who the new manager comes in, it does feel like curtains for me. And I'm not going to say that it's because he's lazy in training. As in, that's my stance. I'm just putting out a hypothetical. But I don't think it's about ability. I do think it is more of it's either an application thing, but what I do think is more likely, and this seems to trigger some people, I don't know if physically he's able to. I don't think so far people are looking at him and thinking that he can physically cope with the Premier League. And we've also seen that happen before. Technically gifted footballers, they just don't have the physicality to be able to manage things.
Terry,
Fred couldn't compete when he first came in. I'd back Donny over Fred every day of the week.
I'm not suggesting
Angel Di Maria.
I want to see him given a chance. I'm just saying, for me, I don't think there is a big. But it could be. I don't think there's a big conspiracy as to why he's not playing. I bet when they say it, we'll all just go, "Oh, is that it?" Like, I don't think it's this big thing. We just don't know what it is, and I think that's what is annoying people. It's like,
you know what I think, Terry?
He could easily start
against Wolves. Some people just don't want to. Just one thing. People, I think Man United fans just don't want to have this other failed transfer. Sometimes people want to complicate things and not have the simple answer, because might be the simple answer is that it was the wrong choice. Maybe it was the wrong choice.
Here's the issue, right? Like, I don't mind logics. Danny will know this. You guys will know this from speaking. I can handle logics. And I understand whether it suits my opinion or not. Facts are facts, or logic is logic. I just don't, facts don't have to agree with me for it to be right, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
When people say he's potentially weak, not you guys, but in general, we talk about his physicality. You talk about his ability to win the ball. On and off the ball, he's one out of all the midfielders I've seen so far who play in the 60s role so far, because that's where I would put him. So it's my preference. Well, in Ollie's system, shall we say, because I haven't seen him under Ragnick. When he was playing in Ollie's system, he's the only one I've seen who has any competence of being able to tackle and also maintain having the ball in his feet whilst being bodied and bullied at the same time. And nicking up. I don't understand this physicality thing. Now, again, it's a theory, and I get it. I get the Premier League is difficult. But to me, that sounds like a scratching guess. Because we
see smaller players. You see the smaller players than Donny.
Think about it from Ragnick's perspective, right? Think about what he's gravitated towards. Think about it from Ragnick's perspective. His preference.
No. That's my point, Don. What I'm saying to you is, people have brought factors or theories to the table regarding Van der Beek, and I don't see the logics when people talk about his physicality. And his lack of. I know it's a theory,
guys,
but I don't see the logic from it.
No one knows why he's not being picked. Everything.
But that's what I'm saying. It's a guess.
Theory. Yeah, exactly. And my point is this: I see some people that don't want to look at it. It can't be because he's not working hard enough. It can't be a physicality thing. It has to be something weird and obscure. I think it's going to be something far more basic. And the physicality thing's interesting. They're all men and they're all athletes. Physicality wise, yes, some players, Vincent Kompany, he's gone. Van Dijk is stronger than the vast majority of players in the Premier League. Like, he's probably one of the strongest players in the Premier League. Big, strong, robust, athletic. But in terms of him to the weakest, they're all very strong. When I think about physicality, one of the things I do think maybe it could be, it's how you handle the physical moments. Do you then, one of the things I'd say about Anthony Martial, technical ability is there. Is he scared of a fight? No, I've seen him square up to bear man. But when the going gets tough in games and it hasn't gone his way 3 or 4 times, he shies away and he's a bit of a shrinking violet. I think it could be, again, we don't watch training. We don't see what happens in those moments. And training, for all intents and purposes, is always meant to be very, very intense, like a real game environment. It's why when you often see footage of players fighting, fans are like, oh, it's terrible. And then pros always say, what are you talking about? There's fights every week at training because it's like they play real games. I'm just intrigued to know what it is. And I don't hate on Donny. I would love to see him start against Wolves. I really would love to see him start. I want to see him ball out. I want to see him do well. I'm just very intrigued that he hasn't been getting these opportunities so far in the last 7-8 games after Ollie, that I personally was like, he's definitely going to start games now. And he just doesn't. And I thought he'd come on the sub today. He didn't. It confuses the hell out of me. But what I'm liking about it now is because nobody's hating on Ralph. It isn't because Ralph's incompetent and stupid. So before, a lot of people just blamed on Ollie's stupidity before. Stupid and got favourites. If he still doesn't play under Ralph, it can't be that reason, right? So it has to be something logical. But I am stumped. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I would say, I mean, I wouldn't go down the line of Ollie being stupid, but I think if you look at how Ollie was playing, and then you ask yourself, what improvements did Ollie's team need to go and get the next level? A lot of people go off the, because me and Dan had this conversation a couple of days ago about we didn't really care about defensively anymore because we thought it would be crap anyway. But on the ball going forward, he was a player that would bridge the gap and made the difference. And you've seen that with your own eyes with the cameos that he's had. But at the same time, from a deeper position, he seemed to be a better player. So this is the difference. Under Ollie, this is why people, in my opinion, were getting on at Ollie because they were saying, well, your structure's rubbish, so at least give yourself a chance when you're on the ball. Keep the ball. Ball retention. That's what a lot of things that we're saying. So maybe people were going at Ollie for that reason because it's a case of you need a player like Donny and now you're not using him. One thing I don't think we've all factored in, and this is me included, having this conversation probably just brought this to my light. It just may be life's coincidence that he's just not been able to get to play. Like, for example, he wasn't a favourite under Ollie. That happens. Next manager comes in. It can't be to do with his ability. However, there'll be a different reason. That's just an unfortunate coincidence, I think. Sometimes that could happen. Because if we're scratching around that this deep to find the reason, and we know the basic reasons aren't what they seem to be, shall we say, it must be something so simple that it's just life saying, unfortunately, mate, this just isn't your time, and we have to accept that as well.
That's a good point.
That happens, and all that. The only solution for that is either a new manager comes in that finally likes him and he plays football, or he leaves. Those are the
and that's why, though, I'm happy Ollie's not here for this if it does continue, because the people because much people didn't like Ollie. Ollie was the reason, as opposed to it maybe just being another, like this super chat says, another Juan Sebastian Veron situation where a player just couldn't quite do it in this league, and people don't want to believe. Again, it's because Man United don't. It's the crazy thing is, if Man United were doing well and were top of the league, Donny not playing wouldn't be an issue. No one cares that Jack Grealish isn't killing it. Like Jack Grealish isn't the leading light at City. No one cares, even though it costs £100 million because they're at top of the league. If they were sitting fourth right now and they were 12 points off top, and Jack Grealish's performance and outputs were at this level, he'd be getting cooked. So it's often where you sit in the league as well. You Man United fans are gassed up about beating Burnley at Old Trafford.
Terry, don't respond to that. You know what he's on. You know what he's on.
Terry Pep Cancelo's tweet. Cancelo who?
Cancelo. Is he okay?
What did he say? Tell us. Why don't you super chat? Tell us what he said.
Original base. I don't know what that means, bro.
Very cryptic.
Is he okay?
I thought when I first read it, I thought he meant the boxer, and I
saw someone say Cancelo's going to be fine, but I'm just like, what? Did he get injured last game or something? But
can I ask you a lot of questions just after the super chat?
Go on, man.
Go on. All right, just since you're talking about Cancelo, I honestly, guys, like Wan-Bissaka's performance tonight, man. Like, I know you lot have been talking about needing a central midfielder, but I think a right back is nearly as important. Like, I was watching this Don. There's one moment in particular. I think he received the ball off Scott, and bro, he was like dribbling back to his own. You know when you got your FIFA pad and you don't even know you've got your foot on or something.
There's so many moments. There's so many moments in this game. Well, I was just like, what is this brother doing? Listen, the back pass that led to a corner in the last minute was hilarious. That was a disgrace.
Remember last season when the ball bounced in front of him, he lost flight of it?
Yeah.
He looked like he lost the ball.
Guy's a myth, man.
I was saying to my dad, he's a dopey footballer. He's dope. Like, he is in positions just to be in positions. There's so many times where I saw him sprint up the pitch into a good position, and then they play into it, and he's kind of like, oh crap, they're actually passing to me. Let me try and get the ball. And
every time I watch one,
that's me. I get into positions so hopefully no one sees me because I'm not very good. And then they get forced into.
It comes to you, it's like, what the fuck's going on?
I'm like, no, I don't want it. And
every time I watch Wan-Bissaka, I'm thinking one thing. Every time I watch Wan-Bissaka, is one thing is like, youth levels, who chose this guy to be a professional footballer? I'm like,
he was a winger as well. He didn't start the second. And he was on the wing.
He was never a winger, man. He was
5-6 years old. 5-6 years old. This guy, his parents, I'm sorry to say that, his parents brought him to a tryout or something, and they're like, some manager thought this guy is gonna be a professional footballer. Okay, what? On basis of what?
Listen. Okay,
good footballer.
Let's not act like he wasn't good under a counter-attacking low block team. Like, he's excellent at when you don't have to defend.
So let's put some level of respect back into him.
He was
great one-on-one defender. Great one-on-one defender. Great one-on-one defender.
No, if he went to Newcastle. If you went to big man thing, if you think about how Newcastle play on,
no. Have you seen Manquillo? Manquillo gets forward and shoots at the goal.
Absolutely, yes. At least the guy can cross, can pass, can do stuff.
Saint Maximum is their guy. He picks up that ball. He does a madness. You won't see many of their right backs about. All I'm saying is, you won't get ahead of
but they do a couple of things on the ball. Like this guy's feet are
saved them from getting relegation. I think he could do that.
Wan-Bissaka for me is this as well. Like, again, though, today I agree with the on the ball stuff, but I always feel more secure when we're being attacked when he's there, because I still think he is a very good defender.
You made a mad block at the end of the game.
Yeah. That was a mad block.
You're Man United. I'm sorry, you're Man United.
I haven't finished my point. He's very good defensively. The problem is that there's been a shift in right backs, and more are being expected to attack and go forward and do these things. Man United's problem is and it is a problem, is we can see too many attacks and need uber good defensive fullbacks too often. We need them to always be good. I look at, for instance, someone like Lamptey. I don't really know how good he is at defending, because even in Brighton's team, I'm not watching him consistently defend all day. He's not, his job isn't to do that in the team. I watched him last night, and look, he wasn't the sole reason, but the way he was making Reece James run in that opening 30 minutes, I'm not surprised Reece James' hamstrings, because that guy, and I look at it and I'm like, do you know what? I'm always one of these people, when we sign a player, I'll always give them time. I'll always back them publicly. They're my players. But he's just, again, he's going backwards. He is a worse player now than he was 18 months ago. When he first came in, we saw some talented bits. We saw some good moments. When we bought him for £50 million, a lot of top managers and teams were also looking at. It wasn't like Man United randomly paid £50 million for this cat.
You got bumped though. You got bumped again.
Yeah, but this is what happens though. For every, like, whenever you buy certain players, like you guys bought Van Dijk for 75 million. What a buy! You guys also dropped nearly 60 million on Naby Keita that's never fit.
Like, we don't talk about that one.
I know, but this is the way it works in the modern. This is the way it works in the modern day game. And the maddest bit is, then you can do an Arsenal and drop like 10 million quid on Tomiyasu, who's, again, he isn't as good at going forward as the Lampteys and the Reece Jameses and that. But I would take Tomiyasu now over AWB.
Absolutely.
100, because he's just that little bit better. In fairness, I actually think Ethan. Listen, no, the answer's Lamptey, bro. The answer's Lamptey.
No, listen. Lamptey, yeah. Lamptey and Ethan Laird are basically the same thing. Lamptey is an excellent attacking fullback. We'll see. Ethan Laird's got the ability to go forward. Why are you? No. I didn't know. No. I'm stopping this. You're Najee, do you see this? Danny, do you see this? You see this? Why does he shut down every time I try and mention this kid? He shuts it down every time. Why are you upset? Why are you afraid of Laird?
There's levels to stream from before. Yeah, I think you were talking about players that should have made it, and we were gassing them up, and they never became anything. You spoke about Cleverley, you spoke about Wilshere. They were the next big thing, and then they flopped. So I think Terry's reserving judgment, but I think deep down, I think off air, Terry's like, "Oh, Laird's a bully."
I know. Of course, I know he's talented. I know he's talented. Yeah. It's just more. It's actually what it is as well. It's like, because he's not in the equation. It's like, it's just don't bring it up because he ain't here. If he was sitting if he was at the training ground with the first team, then I'll be doing it. He's like, that's all it is. But no, he's very talented. I like to be in the team. I've got some super chats here. First one says, where's it gone here? I missed it maybe. First one says, what Basuma did last night against Chelsea, he's been doing all season. I'd love to see Basuma in United's midfield. I would as well. He needs
to resolve his situation.
He had a madness.
Oh yeah.
No, I reckon he would have gone. I reckon he would have gone to like Arsenal.
No. Benjamin.
Get him in January.
Let's not bring too much stuff. I can't talk about this stuff on streams. It gets stripped down nowadays. They're like YouTube the madness. Can we please talk about how about Maguire today? I mean, how is he the captain of this club? And respect to you guys, I have to say again, Maguire's another player. He's another player.
Can I ask you a question? Did you want Maguire to be dropped and Varane to start next to Bailey, or you are happy with that defensive
again? So when you listen to the actual reason, this is why I wait to hear what's gone on. When a team gets announced, I wait to hear the manager speak about why. Because everyone was angry, and it's when, look, he's just come back after a hamstring injury. We didn't want to play him twice in a couple of days, and we had to do it. I don't want, right now, I was very happy with Maguire when he first arrived. I'm not going to lie about that. I was happy with what I saw. I expected him to keep getting better. He got a bit better. We got a bit better, and it's crashed and burned. And he, the maddest thing is, like so many signings for Man United in the last 10 years, they've nearly all just got worse since they've arrived. Think about nearly every player we've signed at the club. How many have continually got better? Or have they gone, or they just been instantly dead, always dead, or had a little, or started well and then dipped off every time, which is one of the reasons why as well I don't get overtly angry at any player, because I've seen it happen to everyone. It's like, for me, there's a big club issue here, and a lot of it is, can they handle the pressure? I didn't realize this until Ralph arrived. It's the first time the club's ever had a psychologist in the dressing room. Every other club's been doing it for a decade. It's like, how behind are we on
that's
these
not
things,
completely true, by the way. We
well,
don't
it's what I read.
a psychologist on the coaching side. We have it on the medical side. There seems to be a
Yeah, but like again, it seems to like I don't know. We need
you know that Danny. You know what that difference is? That difference is psychology. That will get you through an injury to make sure you don't get depressed.
No, it's deeper than that. It's like if a player has, say, a problem we can't talk about live on air. It's those type of things. But this guy's working with them on a footballing.
Football sense, and that's what we need. Also, Terry, read those two out. Read those two out.
I'll put them both up, KJ. Both these two, I used to watch your show, but these two are regulars on Midnight Vibes. They're your boys, isn't it? That's what this is.
It's transferring the money as we speak.
That's what it is. They're your burners, G. They're your burners. I've been sent some DMs. I always get excited when I get sent some DMs. Oh, I've seen the Cancelo thing. Yeah, he got rushed. That's mad, you know.
Yeah.
What's this? Scott McTominay said. This is Sunshine just sent it to me. He says body language is one thing. The managers come and completely cut that out. He said he wants no more, and that's final. All the players have firmly taken that on board, and it's important we do. Do you know one thing I like about Scott McTominay? I wish Scott McTominay was better and had won a World Cup or something because more people would listen to him. I do like how he speaks and how he puts himself across. He's very professional and he's right. And this is the one thing I want to. This is kind of what I want to see, and I will always reserve judgment. I was saying it to Jess on Straight Facts show yesterday. I am massively fearful that we have to do a whole rebuild, clear out the squad, take 2 or 3 years to get us back to where we want to be. What I'm actually hopeful for is the bad habits we have. These players listen to Ralph because he's respected in the game, and this group turn it round. We're still going to add new players. Every team does. Even Pep's brilliant team are going to add new players this January or this summer. But yeah, I like what he said there. That's good.
You know what it is as well, Terry? Yeah. You know when Pep won the title a few years back with Otamendi and the version of John Stones, that's not the version of John Stones now. Just think back, and company could only play like 15 games in a season. The way people we have to rip this all up. Sell Maguire, sell Lindelof, buy us 2 inch. It's not that deep. It's honestly not that deep. No. You get an elite manager and you sort out that midfield. Yeah, I think people are just.
We got attacking talent for days, man.
You're judging this team based on how it's looked this season. This is the worst we've looked in literally 3 years. In 3 years,
you don't need 11. You don't need 11 world-class players to win a league.
You
just need the right system,
a winner,
and right players.
You need a winner.
Do you know how we know this? How we know this as well? It's like I always. This is why again I'm not going too hard on any of these players, right? One, Ralph. People keep making me laugh as well with the weak banter, like making us laugh. Ralph, this he's not no one's dad. I'm like, bruv, Ralph ain't our manager. He's an interim. He's going to be the DOF. We know how good he is at that. Like, I'm not gonna ever be drawn out by him being our interim because I said at the time it was interim Ralph or Ollie stays, and I was picking interim Ralph irrespective. 100%.
Actually, wait. You got to actually talking about picking. The question is, which interim Michael or interim Ralph? That's what the real question is here. Because
interim Michael had us playing better football, maybe. But I look at it from the point of view of like, if you gave Ole Gunnar Solskjaer this Liverpool team now, I'm telling you, in 2 years' time, you're out of the top 4. Like
we're not out of the top half, mate. Like.
Mate, this is the thing. So yes, you have to have top quality players, but we saw this for 25 years with Fergie. The best managers, they just get the best out of everybody. That extra, you've probably got players in your team that we all think are amazing. I'll give you an example of a player. Take it away from the Prem so nobody's emotional about it. Pedro at Barca. Whenever I watch Barca play, when Pedro was in Barca's team, scored loads of goals. He looked part of the crew. He looked part of the Messi, Xavi, Iniestas, Busquets, Gerard Piqués. All these guys, he looked like he was part of them. He left and went to Chelsea, and he was good, but he was a level below those guys. But because he was surrounded by them and the system was great and they always had top-class managers, it elevated him to another degree. And that's what Liverpool. I'm not saying who it is at Liverpool because I'm not going to start a war.
I think Jota is a good example, like a good parallel.
Jota,
when we signed him, it was a bit of a weird one. Really, like I don't even know if he do well.
I'm saying this now. I don't care. No says Jota for Liverpool. I think he's been a better player than Pedro for Chelsea.
Oh yeah,
but what my point is, I don't know if Jota would do well on another team. He do as well at Chelsea.
When Pedro joined Chelsea, that Chelsea team weren't as good as the Barca team he was in. So
yeah,
you didn't see as much out of him. If you like, one of the reasons I know all of us are interested in how Liverpool and City are going to be and look and play when their respective managers leave. The one great thing is we kind of know that nobody's doing a Fergie 20-year stint that we've got to put up with this. They are going to move on. They could maintain. They could go backwards. We're all intrigued. And you know, as a Liverpool fan, Ish, like, you know for a fact that new manager comes in, Gerrard takes over, Nagelsmann comes in, whoever, right? You know everybody, right? How's Trent performing in this system? How's Salah? Everyone's on it straight away. Rivals are going to be waiting, sitting there, tweets in draft, ready to go. And that's the way it is. And some players with a new manager at Liverpool will get better. Some will get worse. And I never experienced that because my whole life I had one manager up until Fergie retired. From birth till he retired, I knew one guy one way, what worked, what didn't. And I think that's what I love about football. It's people call them system players. I think system players are not a new thing. They've always existed. They've always been around. One certain player just doesn't quite cut it at a particular club, can move elsewhere and be an absolute Donny. Excuse the pun. So you never know. It's going to be intriguing.
Some of the coaches, they actually improve like players dramatically that we actually after 2-3 years, like after 2-3 years, we don't think about it. Like you forget about how this player was in Monaco, how this player was in Porto. You think after 2-3 years, this is a superstar. No, he's not a superstar. Wait until this manager leaves. I'm sorry, you guys are Man United fans. We have looked at Darren Fletcher as an okay player, but because it's Ferguson, he made him a very good player. I looked at Pedro under Pep Guardiola and it's like, this guy scored in every single final, but then he left and he was, as exactly Terry said, there's a lot of players that came to this City team and they were not superstars. They came from actually a lower level leagues, but because of the system, because of Pep, because of the environment, they became superstars. And not all the managers are idiots. Don't tell me that Kevin De Bruyne is a great player, fantastic player. Don't tell me that Kevin De Bruyne was exactly at the same level before he joined Pep. Pep made him absolutely. He made him a monster.
And he's an amazing player. And the system.
Ginger.
He made the system made him instead of 8. The system made him instead of an 8.5 player to a 9.5 in most of the games. This is what Bernardo Silva is giving you right now. This is what Antonio Conte will make these players.
This is the best example here. Victor Moses, right?
Alonso
as a fullback under Conte, man was balling. Vicky Moses, crazy.
Alonso was a sub for a guy called Vargas in Fiorentina. Went to you guys, probably some people don't know this. The guy was a sub most of the games. And then this guy, Antonio Conte, comes in and says, like, hold on, this Victor Moses is going to be the best wing backs. We're going to invent these new positions for these guys to score every day. And they just tore the league apart for 13 games. And it was ridiculous. And then people forgot that Alonso was not that guy. 2 years ago, he became that superstar. The
best example here. We've seen it this year. He's moved clubs for the first time in his life, and he's gone massively backwards. Messi wasn't the same Messi we know now. He's gone backwards.
Goal in that.
Wait, listen.
He is now at what? He's now like nanny level since he's left. We've seen close now.
All right, listen. You know what? I want to say it now. What we're seeing of Messi and Ronaldo, they're just getting old, bro. Like today, I literally watching this game. I was like, yo, Ronaldo, my brother, you are an old man, you know. Like, man, you try to do step overs and cross, and it just
bro. Age does that. It was one of the reasons why when it comes to the debates about legacy, it's why when it comes to Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs, they're untouchable for me because these guys,
longevity is mad.
And it wasn't just the longevity; it's that at 39 and 40 years old, they played together in central midfield, which wasn't Giggs' original position, and won a fucking Premier League and never looked old or tired or slow or like that turn. And listen, Gerrard was amazing. Lampard was, they're all amazing players. Those men, when they hit 30, 33, 34, you saw a difference in them. They tried to change position, go deeper, do whatever. Gerrard is a deep line midfielder. what didn't have the same impact on games he had as an attacker in terms of influencing that role. He was good. I'm not saying he was suddenly trash. He wasn't. But Scholes went from being a second striker in his career right the way back to being that kind of quarterback style midfielder. And wherever he played was fine, and retired at 36. Come back at 37 for 2 years and look like he'd never been away. And that's why when I see Ronaldo now, he's still a very good finisher. He's still a top player. But you do see it when he runs sometimes. I look at him at my age. I'm 36. I'm only like a year or so younger than him.
You're in a wheelchair.
It's
You're
when
almost in a wheelchair.
It's when he tries to volley these random balls that ping up and he just fluffs his lines completely. I'm just like,
he's gonna do
my guy, you're getting old.
In fairness, some of the stuff he does though, where he gives the ball away and build up play as those air shots. You might not remember this, KJ, because you're only in your mid-20s. He was doing that even when he's pomp at Man United. Ronaldo's always been a little bit like that. Like he can pull off a good pass on that, but he's always been a little bit like that. He's always had those moments. The difference between him now and then, the only difference is he doesn't have that electrifying burst of pace over the first 5 to 8 yards. That's all that's missing. When he gets up to full speed, he's quick. He just can't burst away from it. Well, he used to be able to knock it past someone and he was gone. He was so quick.
I saw Mango neck and neck with Ben Mee. I was like, no. A
lot of people didn't watch Ronaldo in 05 and 06. A lot of people didn't watch Ronaldo 05, 06, 07 when he used to do what. The problem is different. Messi did it when he was 30, but Ronaldo stopped doing it because he turned into this top goal scorer, finisher, amazing guy under Zidane. And people just forgot that this guy used to dribble. I used to watch Ronaldo when I was not a little like younger, dribble 3-4 guys with that burst of speed in the beginning of like the field and then move the ball up at his feet. He doesn't do this now and people just forgot about it. And just go watch YouTube.
Basically
highlights.
what ASM is now. Ronaldo back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you all tuning in tonight. Please make sure you're back tomorrow. More content on the way. Maybe some more Chelsea fallout. Although there's a lot of stories now, and a lot of the Chelsea press and Chelsea verified press saying that misquotes and this ain't quite right and don't take it out of context and the words Fabrizio used weren't right, and he's gonna get defended. Of course, he's gonna be defended. But
those men are stressed. Man.
Listen, the one thing I think someone said is he didn't mention Tuchel's name when he said like when he says I'm unhappy and I'm not happy with the system. He didn't actually like use Tuchel's name, but it's like, but we know who he's talking about though. Like he's
not an idiot, Terry. He's not an idiot. He has a PR behind him, Lukaku.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is something happening.
Man deactivated the Twitter just in time. Just in time, bro.
So we've got that tomorrow. The Bet Victor Top 6 show is back. It is New Year's Eve, but we will be live for you, my people, earlier on in the day. So make sure you get that done. Smash the like button before you leave. Please go and check out our friends over at Fan Team. Remember, it's free to enter. £100,000 prize if you win the fantasy league. So if you're any good at it, give it a go. If you're not, it's still free. But until next time, take care. Goodbye.